spelling bee. So the offers that we are offering to the students is, first, we have what we call your Singapore math. Next, we have what you call your Waterloo math. So third is we have your AoPS, or that is your art of problem solving. So these are the three types of mathematics that we offer here in Canada Super Spelling Bee, but are not just only limited into this, because we also have private classes, or we also offer private classes for those students who really just wanted to be having a one-on-one for the teachers. So let's dig into the most information of what are the difference of this type of mathematics. Okay, first is we have your Singapore math. So what is really Singapore math, and how does this type of mathematics differs from other mathematics? So just to let you know, mathematics is really universal, okay? So the topic itself, it's really the same across the world. So regardless wherever you are, the mathematics never change. However, the approach, and then the arrangement of the topic might quite differ from a curriculum to curriculum, or different types of mathematics. So we have your Singapore math, in which a Singapore math refers to the teaching methodology and curriculum of mathematics imparted to children from kindergarten to middle school. So meaning to say, Singapore math is most likely focused on those students who are really want to learn, and who are still in from a kindergarten until to a middle school. So a Singapore math is based on Jerome Bruner's learning theory. It advocates the concrete, pictorial, and abstract approach. So this is what makes it different from other types of mathematics. Meaning to say, if you really want to learn a Singapore math, it means that you will be undergo with from a concrete structure, and then pictorial of a theory, and then before we will be going to an abstract. Okay, in this approach, ideas are introduced using concrete materials, a pictorial representation, and finally student engage with abstract symbolism. Okay, so meaning to say that when you are learning a Singapore math, we will be doing as much as possible a concrete material. Since we don't have a concrete materials that we'll be using most likely, so we will be jumping most likely into a pictorial. So we will be starting the topic with pictures, so that it's easy for students to understand the concept and the theory of mathematics before we will be proceeding into an abstract, meaning that's the time that you can just only see pure numbers. At the same time, that's the time that you can see just a all entire problem solving in a sentence form. Okay, so what are the topics that you will be expecting in a Singapore math, and are these topics applicable from a lower grades to a higher grade? So definitely is what we offer right now here is we offer from grade 2 until to grade 6. But it's not just only limited until to grade 6, because we still have more to offer when you are moving higher. All right, so let's take a look at this. So these are the topics that most likely you will be having in a Singapore math. First is for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, which is the basic operations in mathematics. So yes, it can be taught into grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5. But however, when you are already like a grade 6, okay, if you are already like grade 6, we don't really anymore teach like the basic operation in mathematics, because supposedly before moving to grade 6, we already knew, or we already assumed that you are already equipped. Okay, you are already equipped with the knowledge of the basic of mathematics. So in which that is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, regardless of how many numbers that you will be adding, subtracting, multiplying, and for dividing. But however, since in Canada, Super Spelling Bee is what we offer is we combine like certain specific groups like grade 4, grade 5, and grade 6. We combine this. So meaning to say that in the first topic or in the first lesson, we will still be discussing a little bit of this kind of information. All right. So next is order of operation. So I guess some of you here already familiar with the order of operation. And order of operation is most likely we'll be teaching this into like grade 5 and grade 6. But as mentioned, like grade 4 and grade 6 in Canada Super Spelling Bee, sometimes we mix them. So therefore, even if you're still in grade 4, you have already the opportunity to learn order of operation. So order of operation, that is your BEDMAS or what we call your PEMDAS. Okay. Next is we have your measurement. So in terms for measurement is all grade levels really need to learn what types of measurement, how to measure, like for example, understanding how to convert meter to centimeter and other more in terms for measurement. Okay, next is your area and perimeter. So area and perimeter, it is most likely related to shapes. Okay, so how big is the square? How big is a rectangle? So those are what you call your area and perimeter, in which that can be taught to grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, grade 6. At the same time, we have also your volume. So when we said a volume, meaning to say that how big is the shape in which how much you can fill in inside of that shape. So most likely when we said a volume, we will be dealing like a 3D form. Okay, so since this is already a 3D form, so most likely grade 4, grade 5, grade 6 will be the one will be receiving this kind of information. Next is your geometry. So when we said geometry, this is really like shapes, okay? But when we said geometry already, this is already not just anymore like squares and rectangles. So we will be dealing like quadrilaterals, parallelograms. So it's already getting a lot of information, not just the basic shapes of squares, circle, and your rectangles. So geometry will be taught, that is for grade 5 and grade 6. So fractions and decimal, okay, so grade 2, okay, so grade 2, they don't really need to learn the fractions and decimal. Okay, but the good thing with Canada Super Spelling Bee is that even if you're still a grade 2 student, since we mix grade 2 and grade 3 all together, so definitely you will be also learning fractions at an early stage compared to you are, even though that you are not yet a grade 3 student. Okay. Next is for algebra. For algebra, it is just only, we'll be starting teaching this information or this topic to grade 6 students, because algebra, it's already a pre-algebra, meaning we will be providing you a information on how to solve numbers or how to solve variables already. So by the way, if you might be wondering, like, what if I'm already like, I'm still a grade 3, and then, but I know all majority of the topics in grade 4 already, or maybe in grade 5. Is it possible for me to join in a class for like grade 6 students? The answer is yes. Okay. So regardless of what grade level are you in, okay, once you will be enrolling in Canada Super Spelling Bee, as long as you already have those basic knowledge from a previous years, like for grade 2 and grade 3, and then if you think that you're able to catch up the discussion for grade 4 and grade 5, then you are allowed to enroll in Canada Super Spelling Bee for a higher mathematics. So we don't really limit on based on the grade level are you in right now, but it's all about the knowledge that you already have, or the knowledge that you already knew. Okay, so this is how it looks like when we will be teaching Singapore math. So I choose a topic for fraction. Okay, so any one of you here know what is a fraction? Anyone? What is a fraction? All right. Rida, is it Rida Negi? Yes, can you tell me what is a fraction?
A fraction is like when there is a line in the middle of a shape or anything like that,
Okay, all right.
like the half of a shape.
Mm-hmm. Hey, all right. Surat, how about you? What is a fraction? What do you think? What is a fraction?
Like a fraction are the parts of a whole.
Okay, nice. All right, very good. Okay, let's see what is a fraction. So according here, fractions are ways of writing parts of a whole number. So meaning to say, out from the whole, we want to know what is that part, okay, that we may be taking out, or what is that part that we want to figure out. So for example, okay, I have this figure. You can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rectangles has been separated. Okay, so here is that it states that the diagram is divided into 5 equal parts. 2 parts are shaded, meaning these parts are shaded. There are 2 parts are shaded. Then the shaded part can be written as a 2/5 or 2/5, while the unshaded part is 3/5, or that is a 3/5. So 2/5 or 2/5, the number 2 is the number that is called as your numerator. Okay, it is the number of parts present. And then while 5 is the number which is below, and that is a denominator. So it's very important in mathematics that we really need to learn vocabularies at the same time, because the moment that we keep on in moving forward, we always use vocabularies in order for us to understand each other when during the discussion. So the top part of the fraction is numerator, and then the bottom part is what we call denominator. Okay, so let's have just a small or a quick example on how to do Singapore math. So write the shaded amount as a fraction of the whole amount. All right, anyone could tell me what is the fraction based on the information that you've just seen a while ago? Anyone? All right, Grushan.
It's 3/8.
Pardon?
3/8.
Okay, that is 3. It can be that is 3/8 or 3/8. Okay, let's have that word 3/8, or that is a 3/8. Okay, good. Okay, next. Let's have Kabir.
1/6.
Okay, 1/6 or 1/6 or 1/6. Okay, good. Okay, next. Surat.
It's 4/8.
Okay, that is 4/8 or 4/8. Okay, next. Okay, any other hand? Okay, all right, Kabir, go ahead. Yes, Kabir.
Fifteen out of 25.
Okay, 15 out of 25, or 15/25, or 15/25. Okay, next. Let's have Siddharth. Siddharth, can you tell me what is the answer to this?
4 out of 5.
Okay, 4 out of 5, or 4/5, or 4/5. All right, so if you'll be looking at how does we do the Singapore math, it's really more on based on pictures at first, at the very beginning, we always provide you information based on pictures. And then after that, we will still be doing, like, if we want to add fractions, if we want to do subtraction of fractions. So we always start with pictures, okay? We always provide you materials or materials in which you really need to picture out the theory of the mathematics. So that's the good thing with a Singapore math. Do you have any questions in regards with Singapore math? No. All right. So since there are no questions, yes, Rasha.
Yeah, so you said Singapore math, it's also there for higher grades.
Yes.
So yeah, so is the spelling bee providing Singapore math for higher classes also?
Technically, the Singapore math that we have is just like the theory that we have is just for like until grade 6. So if I may ask, Rasha, what grade are you in right now?
No, not me, my daughter. She's in grade 9.
Okay. Right. So we still have other type of mathematics. So if your daughter is already like a grade 9, I think I don't really recommend anymore the Singapore math, because most likely a Singapore math actually it is really like a foundation math. Okay. So meaning that the students will really need to learn the basic types of mathematics before we will really go to a higher mathematics.
Okay.
All right. So any more other questions before I will proceed? All right. So if you don't have any more questions, so let's talk about another type of mathematics that we are offering. So this is what we call your Waterloo math. So Waterloo math, it is really a type of a contest, okay, that Waterloo University is offering to students. So what is a Waterloo math? So Waterloo math, it fostered the development of critical personality traits such as resilience, adaptability, persistence, and strategy-based thought. So Waterloo math, it will exercise like a strategy-based thought. It means that you will be having different types of questions, and it depends on the student on how they will approach it, because always remember, mathematics, it has many ways to solve the problem. It is not just only one type of solution, but it can be solved in many different ways. So meaning that we will be if you will be enrolling at Waterloo Math, we will be teaching students on how to really solve different problems based on the topics that we will be have for Waterloo for a specific grade level. Right. So Waterloo Math, it is also a good opportunity to prepare for students for university. And then at the same time is that when you are enrolling, or if you will have the opportunity to join a Waterloo Math contest, it is already good for portfolio in order for you to apply for universities. So what are the types of Waterloo Math that we offer here in Canada Super Spelling Bee? So we have what we call your Gauss. Okay, Gauss is ideally for those students who are grade 7 and grade 8 below. Okay, so if you are still like grade 5, then definitely you can join Gauss as long as you are not exceeding from a grade 7 and grade 8. Okay, so what are the topics that you will be learning in Gauss? So here are the informations that you will be learning in Gauss. One, we will be having what we call your operations. So technically, that is the basic operations. So addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. But we will be also doing a little bit of a higher types of operation, like solving tricky questions in related to operations. So it is not just only a mere of addition, subtraction, and multiplication, but this is already the time that we will be moving on to much more like a problem solving related questions and a tricky questions. So we have also ratios, rates, and proportion, bisectors, which is most likely it's all about angles, Okay, it's all about related to geometry and properties of shapes. So if you might see that in Singapore math, we break down the properties of shapes. Okay, if you're still at a very low, at a lower grade, then we'll be starting from a basic shape, and then once you move forward to until grade 6, that's the time that you can really have most likely all the information. But in a Waterloo math, is we really need you to provide all informations related to all the shapes, because since Waterloo math is somewhat a contest, so meaning to say that we don't really know what are the possible questions that may arise. So it's more on providing all the information as needed. So since we will be dealing with properties of the shapes, so definitely we will also be teaching you the area, volume, and angles on how to solve these angles of the shapes. Next is we have your transformation of your shapes. Like we will be teaching you like a dilation, translation, how does the movement from one shape to another shape, like within a coordinate form. So representing patterns, so we'll be looking at different patterns and then to come up with a solution on what could be the possible. Let me say I have a pattern, or I have like a series of pattern, and then they will be asking, so what will be the shape of the 200 when it comes to a pattern? So next is equations and Pythagorean theorem. So when we said equations and Pythagorean theorem, it is quite related at the same time with the shapes. So next is a data collection and a graph. So data collection, it is just the same with a data analysis in a Singapore math. But however, in a data collection and a graph for a Gauss or a Waterloo, meaning it is already much more on a real observation on how does really the graph behaves, or how does the data or the data really looks like in a problem. Okay, so we have also a data analysis, meaning providing a reasoning on what is the best way to understand the graph. And then most likely the one that you might have is really probability. So probability, it is already new, or it is the moment that you really need to step on to grade 7 level. So you will be starting learning probability. Probability, it's all about chances. So what are the chances that we can able to pass the test? So that's we can able to calculate that. Now, if you are not anymore a grade 7 or grade 8 below, so we still have something for you, and that is a Pascal, which is for grade 9 below. So if you think that you already know everything, or you already have a good information or a good knowledge of a Gauss, and you are like grade 6 student, okay, so you can still able to enroll at Pascal, okay, because as long as you are grade 9 and below, then you are really allowed to join a Pascal class or a Pascal contest. So what are the Pascal contests? So in a Pascal, we have what you call your number sense. So when we said number sense, this is already involves operations, ratio, and rates, and everything that related into numbers. So integers, negatives, square roots. So those are already what we call a number sense. Next is we have already your algebraic expression. Algebraic expression, this is already dealing with variables like x, y, any numbers that is associated, any letters rather, that is associated with numbers. Next is we have what you call your linear relations and analytic geometry. So this is now like a combination of lines, different shapes that will need to be put together. So the square inside of a circle, a 3D square, a 3D circle already. So a mix of the area and the volume. So it's more on it's really a mix of what you have already in Gauss. So we have your measurement, geometry, and trigonometry. So, but in grade 9, in terms for trigonometry, is that we will be teaching you on how to solve basic trigonometry, because you don't really need to do that much first with trigonometry. But Still, since trigonometry is also part of a Pascal in a Pascal test, so we will be teaching you at the same time higher trigonometry. So that is involving like sine, cosine. So it's more on a coordinate plane. Next is we will be also teaching you quadratic relations. So when we said quadratic relations, so this is now like in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. So those are what we call quadratic relations. So quadratics at the same time is we will also be teaching you how to graph quadratics, quadratic functions at the same time. So anything related into quadratic. So that is where like factoring goes. That is how to do a multiplying binomial to binomial. So it's really much more a deeper understanding of quadratic. Next is introduction to functions. So how does we identify a functions to a relations? And then we have also a sequence, series, financial literacy, exponential, and trigonometric functions. All right. So you can really see now that most likely Pascal, it's on a higher level in which that is already a most combination of what you'll be learning in Gauss, while at the same time, there are a lot of additional information. Question? Okay, so these are the possible, questions that you might be encountering, or we will be dealing, or we'll be discussing during in our class. All right. So actually, since a Waterloo math, it is a form of a contest. So in this way, we always practice the students to let them answer the questions in a minimum time, or there will be a time limit for every question. So the questions that I'll be showing you right now, it is quite like a most basic questions. Okay. So let's have this one. Once you have the answer, please let me know. Okay, anyone who have the answer? Okay, Kabir, yes. What is your answer?
8 centimeters.
8 centimeters. All right. How did you get 8 centimeter, Kabir?
I minus the sides and it equal to 8.
You minus the side. Oh, you're right. So here is that it says that the perimeter, meaning when you said perimeter, meaning the total of all the sides is 40 centimeter. So meaning to say that if this is already 16, so meaning that we still have a 24 that is left, because that is 40 minus 16. So therefore we still have 24 centimeter. And then if you can see on the picture, there is something like this, you can see, meaning to say that all the sides, okay, it means all sides, all other sides are equal. Meaning whatever the measurement on one side, then that is still the same measurement on the other side. So we divide by 3. So therefore we can get an 8 centimeter. So that's how a Waterloo or a Gauss works for this. Okay, next, I'll be jumping into a grade 8. All right. Any answers? Any answers? Okay, let's have Gershan.
I think it's 22 because the diagonal of 4 and 3 is 5, then 5 plus 4 equals 9, 9 plus 3, 9 plus 6 equals 15, and 15 plus 4 equals 19, 19 plus 3 equals 22.
Okay, so the answer is 22,
Yes.
right? All
Yes.
right. So if you'll be looking at the figure, it's so easy for us to determine that this part is a 4, this is 3, this is 3, this is a 4, and this is a 3. Am I correct, Gershan? Do you agree? Right? However, the problem that we might be encountering is how to find this one. Okay, in order for us to find this one is we'll be using the idea of what we call your Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so we'll be using the Pythagorean theorem in which it states that c squared is equal to your a squared plus your b squared, and that is mostly for a triangle. So therefore, since this is, okay, c is the longest side, so this is c and this is a and then this is b. So therefore, we'll be having as your 3 squared plus with your 4 squared, so therefore we have a 25. So we still have a c squared. So in order for us to take out the c squared or to have the c, then we need to square it out. So c is equal to 5. So therefore, if this is 5, so 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 3, 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3. So therefore, we can get a 22. So that's how a Gauss works. Question? Clarification. So let's see, take a look on a simple problem with a Waterloo for Pascal. Anyone? Okay, Dennis?
I think the answer is 16.
All right. Why 16, Dennis?
Because because 5 minus 3 equals 2, and then so 7 minus 2 equals 5. So triangle equals 2, and then square equals 5. So then it's triangle times 3, and then square times 2. So which is 6 plus 6 plus 5 equals 16. No, wait, 6 plus 10 equals 16.
So that's why you get 16. Okay, very good. Yes, the answer is 16. So actually, guys, this type of question is not just only that you might encountering in grade 9, but we also have like this type of questioning in what do you call this? This is Pascal rather. That is also we can also have in grade 7 and grade 8. Okay. Yes, and right. So that is for a Waterloo math. Do you have any questions, clarifications, and anything that you would like to ask? All good? Okay, let's have another information, which is your AoPS or the art of problem solving. So the art of problem solving allows students to focus on math concepts that they're struggling with for advanced students that offer a challenge. So art of problem solving, this is still quite the same with your Waterloo. However, that in Waterloo, it is much more a congested of information, okay? Or we always have a Waterloo, like we always rely that the students most likely they already have such a basic information, okay, or basic knowledge before going to a Waterloo math. So while in AoPS, it's really all about a theory, okay? It's all about the theory, and then it is also on how to solve problems that are quite a tricky questions at the same time. So AoPS, actually, it is the foundation, or it is the theory base, or it is the learning base in AMC. Are you familiar with AMC? That is American Mathematics Competition. So if you will be learning an AoPS, meaning to say this is all actually a connection or connected to AMC. Okay, so if the Waterloo, it's still a contest which is for Waterloo universities. So the AoPS is actually a connected to AMC contest. So here is, we have what we call your pre-algebra. So what is inside of a pre-algebra? And then we have also another one. So since this is a pre-algebra, so this is properties of arithmetic. So we still goes with the basic information of addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication that involves already like whole numbers, fractions, decimals, and anything that is really needs to add, to subtract, multiplied, and to divide. Okay. So, but here is, we also have your exponents. So there is already a new information, which is an exponents, number theory, add, even. So how does we figure out for example, we need to know what is the number that we need to find out if there is a missing number, and then the number should be even, and then something like that. So we will be learning GCF, LCM, so prime factorization. So that is belong to like number theory. And then we still have fractions, but this time is you will be dealing with what we call your mixed number. Okay, we also teach mixed number, or we teach fractions which having a mixed number for a Singapore math at the same time, actually. But this time it is really more on a rigid process or a fast pace of a fraction, because it's an additional information. Next, we have also equations and equalities, decimals, ratios, conversions, rates, percents, square roots, okay, how to deal with square roots, and then right triangle and quadrilaterals, data and statistics. So statistics is more on like data analysis, graphs, at the same time probability, and then we have also what we call your counting. So counting, it is related already to what we call your statistics and probabilities, because solving probabilities, it involves already like what we call accounting. Okay, next is we have also a introduction to algebra. So an introduction to algebra, this is really beneficial for those students who are really like above grade 7. But I'm not really stating that even if you are like grade 6, you cannot really join introduction to algebra. It's the reason, if you will able to join an introduction to algebra, we really require as much as possible, me as your teacher, is that the students already have a prior knowledge of in the pre-algebra. So if you think that you already have those like small knowledge from the pre-algebra, or in any form of mathematics, or already have a good information in a grade 6 mathematics, then we can still cater for you to do introduction to algebra. So introduction of algebra there is what we call your order of operation, but this time we will be including the exponents already. Expressions and equations, linear equations, still we have ratio, percent, and proportion, inequalities, quadratic equations, factoring, complex numbers, functions, polynomial, exponents, and this time you have what we call your logarithm. Okay, so it's more likely a higher form of mathematics, but this logarithm that we'll be teaching you in introduction to algebra, this is still like evaluating and solving logarithm. It is not yet like a complicated of a complex in terms of a logarithm. Next is we have your sequence and series. Okay, so here are these possible problems or types of questions that you might be encounter in AoPS. So here is an example of a pre-algebra. If 661,107A is a multiple of 12, then what is the value of A? If you have the answer, please raise your hand. What is the value of your A? Anyone? Any one of you here can solve the problem? Anything anyone would like to give it a shot? Okay, none? Okay, the answer for this is your A is equal to 6. Okay, so actually here is that the topic that we need to consider here is that is a what we called like multiple of 12, meaning what we called your divisibility rules. So once we know the divisibility rules, it's easier for us to really get the answer. So when we said divisibility, so a multiple of 12, it needs to be a divisible of 3 and 4. And according to the rule, a number is divisible for 3 as long as when you add all the numbers, it can be divided. The answer or the sum of all the numbers can be divided by 3. And then when the divisible by 4, it means to say that the last 2-digit number, it needs to be a divisible by 4. So if for 3, so that is 6 plus 6 plus 1, okay, plus 7, and then plus a. So meaning to say, we need to make sure that it needs to be divisible by a certain number. So the only thing that we can have that to replace this, that is equal to 21 plus a, right? So meaning to say that a can either only be like a could either be either a 0, 3, 6, and 9. So therefore, and then for 4, we need to make sure that the 7a is really divisible by, it needs to be divisible by 4. So like, for example, if that is 73, if a is 3, then since this could be 3, so it could be possible that we can get 3. Nope. If it's a 6, yes, it can be divisible by 4, and it's also in the 3. So therefore, the answer is 6. Any questions? Clarifications? All good? Right. So the next problem that I'll be showing you is still a pre-algebra. So here is for an introduction of algebra. Al gets the disease algebraitis and must take 1 green pill. So these are quite of the questions that most likely we will be doing in introduction to algebra. So Al gets the disease algebraitis and must take 1 green pill and 1 pink pill each day for 2 weeks. So a green pill costs $1 more than a pink pill. So and Al's pills cost $546 for the 2 weeks. So how much does 1 green pill cost? So here is that the topic that we'll be doing or the theory on how to solve this is based on what we call your equations. Okay, so at the same time, when we said equations, we will be dealing with your variable and your numbers. So this is the time that we always said, like, let x, okay, be the pill, or be the cost of the pill. Okay, so that's how we create. So meaning to say that we need to come up with an information, or from out of this problem, okay, out of this problem is we need to construct a mathematical expression. Okay, we need to create a mathematical equations in order for us to solve the problem. Okay, so do you have any questions, clarification? So another examples that you might be having with, or an example of a problem that you might be encountering in introduction of algebra that looks like be like this. So we need to find the value of what is the value of your p if the problem is 5/6 is equal to n over 72 is equal to m plus n over 84, and it is also equal to p minus m. So what is the value of your p? So I guess some of you here, it's already been it's somewhat confused on how to solve this problem. But however, is that when you will be learning an introduction to algebra, so meaning you will be provided a lot of information on how to solve these types of problems. At the same time, problems related to sentences already, or what we called a problem solving. Okay, so that's all that we have. for a Canada Super Spelling Bee. We have Singapore Math. Okay, we have a Singapore Math, which is ideal for grade 2 to grade 6 students. Okay, because this is all about a basic information and some easy questions that is for a problem solving, but not to the extent that we will always provide you easy questions. We will also provide you tricky questions or a challenging questions. Okay, so next is we have a Waterloo Math. So Waterloo Math, it is ideal for, like, it's really a contest math type of mathematics in which you'll be learning from a grade 7 to a grade 9. But if you happen also to be higher than that, then we can still offer you a higher mathematics if you are already exceeding like grade 9. Okay, so next is we have your AoPS, or the art of problem solving, which is a pathway, or it is connected to AMC, or that is American Mathematics Contest. So in your AoPS, or in the art of problem solving, is you will be really learning based theory to theory, and then related problems into that topic. Okay, and then before we really do the AMC questions. Do you have any questions, clarifications, or anything that you would like to ask? Any questions? All right, so if everything is good, you might contact Canada Super Spelling Bee if you have any more questions and clarifications, okay, with regards with the type of mathematics that we are offering. So you can feel free to contact Canada Super Spelling Bee for further informations, and when will be the classes will start, and how does the exact way of, or how we will really be doing the discussion inside of the class. But for now, these are the information that I can really provide to you so that you can choose which mathematics that will be enrolling in the future. All right, so hopefully to see you guys on inside of the class, and looking forward to be part of this like a very good type of mathematics. Okay, so thank you for your time, thank you for listening, and have a great day.